Good evening and welcome to this edition of Tok Piksa. Housing problems facing the PNG Royal Constabulary is an ongoing issue that is affecting both police officers and their families time and again. Policemen and women continue to live in rundown houses that are on the verge of collapsing. A police housing program that began in 2012 to address this chronic housing issue achieved poor results. Earlier this month, a visit by the police minister to Lae's Bumbu Police Barracks finally drew government attention to the police housing issue. Edwin Fidelis takes a look at the life of police officers living in squalid homes at Lae's Bumbu and Madang's Kusbao Police Barracks.
Bathroom, toilet, lumiflame, bagarap. Nuka toilet kaba, toilet seat embruk, looking. Embruk la outside em sting, bagarap.
This is the face of police housing at Lae's Bumbu Police Barracks, one of the oldest and existing one in the country. It is the home of more than 100 policemen and women serving in the Lae's police force. Here you can see the extent of the damage. The walls are broken, the sink and the water taps are no longer working. The families living in these houses pay for building materials themselves with their own money to repair their homes, a task that should have been done by the National Police Department.
Mi tok broken this lie. No good la. Bagra broken da. This lab. But me played making maintenance can. Me play got to play with this stuff.
No, now me play working house ya kama bose house na me play stuff. Toilet block, bathroom too, bagarap. Money blow me play yet me play buy more this la. When me fly wire, lubas. All this law all apalang na bote mi play yet. O si barracks no sa kamu dulu mi platu. O si barracks belum baus pare tasolo kam album plalo look lo inside na chai tem nogat.
At the other end of the country, in Madang, police housing is a nightmare for policemen and women serving in the Madang's police force. These houses were built in the mid-1960s. On the walls are evidences of the steady deterioration of the houses. The termites are slowly eating away into their foundation, making it unsafe to live in them.
Singke this line bagarap. Emsa loose. Opini wara bapunda natin. Pressing strong and by stop. Em slap em sting. Em bagarap.
After more than 50 years, the police officers are still using the houses today, even after they were condemned.
All come looking, all making one plus something. Igo I think I must plan Igo now. Then now me play go buy this law when you na. Come na ban sim this law. Little room and some plan come sleep here. Now I'm ready to come down this law. All this year me plus put in now. What is inside?
In the 2015 national budget ended down in November 2014, rebuilding the police force was listed as one of the priority areas of the national government, a measure taken to contain Papua New Guinea's law and order problem. The national government aims to modernize the police force by recruiting an additional 750 new police recruits. 367.2 million kina was budgeted for this. It's not clear how much have been allocated for the rehabilitation of police housing, but it's understood an estimated 400 million kina will be needed to address the chronic police housing problem. Earlier this month, the police minister, Robert Atiafa, made an unofficial visit to Lae's Bumbu Police Barracks. He expressed disappointments on the working progress of 7 new duplex homes that were left incomplete for 2 years.
This is my second time coming into Bumbu Police Barracks. The last was in April in 2014, together with the former commissioner. I cannot see much difference. I was told it will be completed within 6 months, and as it is, it has not been completed, and it would take 2 years now to have this construction done.
These houses are part of the national government's intervention program that began in 2012 that attempts to address the police accommodation problem all over the country. After 2 years of work, the housing program have achieved very little results.
This is Bumbu in Lae. I've been to Morata in Port Moresby. The same problem, it's half complete. I'm told the same goes for Kimeninga in Mount Hagen and Kagamuga. And also in Kuapena, I'm also told it hasn't actually started yet too.
And one something lo here, but one kind lo narap lo laos too. And but one kind as well. Used bakam na luglug na tok we. Mi plak en tok also now se mi tok eh by. All department blum plak en lukim. All big boss blum mi pla na. Ken luglug na seti mi plak good. Well man blum mi plak 7 country. All 7 country na 7 nation na. Mi plak mere pikini basa fa also no dislaka in house na. We ino got good place around blum mi plak.
Lae and Madang are growing towns with a high number of people flocking into this province, spurred by the new development projects, and the establishment of new illegal settlements are thriving. New waves of law and order problems are largely attributed to the growing number of these settlements.
Madang was once a very beautiful town. Like Mr. Kaliboboy, it was once very beautiful. Smart and look nice too. And now, over there, se mokle gogoya. Petty crime, ayo maski, sisiak mi plan no good.
There are also growing concerns over the inability of police to respond to instances of crime.
Side block work la police to mempua. Ono sabi help me play. Even Mildas market sabi stop close too long. Police station. No God. Over the sending pins and bien all police ago. Which say me no good plan. Me plan ki mama no sabi one bell is like an person. Over the sending me pins now all man go lausi ko one. All police are going to be too late. All police are too poor. All poor straight la walk long.
Pressure is now mounting on the police force to curb law and order problems that is happening all over the country. For towns like Lae, Madang and many other towns that are growing rapidly, there is a big need for reliable police units. Increasing the police strength would mean building more police houses, but it's a stage that the PNG Royal Constabulary hasn't quite reached yet.
You're watching Tok Piksa. It's not always that the wives of serving members of the police force speak about their lives. Grace Dewari, wife of Mobile Squad Section Commander Sergeant Kapinias Laman, was asked to share her experiences as a wife of a Mobile Squad Commander. Her interview provides just a glimpse of the difficulties families of serving members of the RPNGC face when their husbands, fathers, and family members are on duty. MTV's Lae Bureau Chief Scott Wide with this report.
So me grow up in Chalodisla family kam na me lugi mo sen work police ka bla good profession, so me interest lo disla na me joining police na.
We've come to the home of Sergeant Kapinias Laman. He is one of 3 section commanders in Lae's Mobile Squad 13, more commonly known as MS-13. Laman belongs to a squad of 30 men, an elite unit within the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary. He is a 3rd-generation cop. His grandfather and father both held the rank of sergeant when they retired.
Me pass out lo 1989, me bin go lo postimi lo Tari. 1989, me stop la go. So 1994 now, and me bla go back for me Tubla Mobile Squad. Me go base back lo Megrega. Then 1994, me come antala again. Me stop la again 1994 in a 2012. 2013 now, na me come down lo Lae.
It's not always that members of the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary are allowed to talk. Due to the usual police protocols, Sergeant Laman and other members of MS-13 were given permission by Lae's Metropolitan Superintendent to speak to MTV. While the blue uniforms and assault weapons are always prominent in the impressions people have of mobile units, this story was a quest to find out about the other side of MS-13 members.
Them base mobile group. Mobile squad 14, lay base and mobile squad 13.
Sergeant Laman is a 25-year veteran in the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary.
Papa been retired 82 mipla kam step out. Na 92 mitupla married. And come similar here mitupla go Better Lutheran Church, mitla married lo Better Lutheran Church lo Hagen. That's all no got accommodation, so Mr. start back lo here. Mr. back lo here na start lo Mendi Atari.
For Grace Dewari, the daughter of a pioneer riot squad member, she came armed with the sound understanding and knowledge of the difficulties she was going to face as a policeman's wife.
Na life belum like me to play young pla marited stop I'm sa stop ante me pla. I'm sa stop out law operation duty calls. I'm start pla Mendi Atari. Tari I'm sa come down and then I'm acted one them rapid deployment unit.
Married life in the police force meant that her husband would not be home for months at a time. One of her biggest challenges was the death of their firstborn when Kapinius Laman was posted to Tari as a young constable.
The time I'm like, look at me. So this time I'm being young policeman, so or commander blame to call, you know, not use him car na go down. So he has to catch a PMV. Been come and break down law. One of my Kundiawa. Been break down lo Kundiawa. Na go down na mi ako looking time mi stop la house early morning mi puti pigini lo mog pinis na mi waiting meeting am bakam lo 3 o'clock mi sit down lo one me ati go 3 o'clock I have to put the child lo inside lo one me mog mi waiting go no gatem been break down lo kunya come down lo goroka this la PMV broke down ken lo goroka so I'm been come lo 12 o'clock night at 12 o'clock night yeah me feeling was I cannot accept that. Namila talk finish. You gonna want me go. Police force say you gonna go walk. Just look for another ceremony. But then me look no, that's not the way to go about. I have to take the challenge now. Move on want the man blow me.
So all the credit must go back them because I'm maintaining family now. When something I'm not give me a time to walk, especially I'm sour. One time no talk to me, one news. Some the news somebody not talk to me. In me come back number talk to me.
But the challenges continued for the young family. At the height of the Bougainville crisis, Laman was sent to Bougainville as part of the security forces deployment. He was embedded with the PNG Defence Force Infantry Unit and was tasked with guarding care centres and people displaced by the fighting.
So every day you take life as it comes, but thinking you by you start a family, especially if you're married man, by thinking very beginning, by thinking papa, mama. But you think tomorrow ba stop beto, but otherwise comrades just stop na by give him support na by you stop go finish him time normally 5 to 6 months.
It was very hard. Yes, me can talk as I want me. Me no sa rouse, me no sa want but I'm sa stop inside the Solomon also. Me no sa talk lehem. At least one time basali commander blame come outside lo place where you got access to communication, lo small buka. Or bastante lo busto okay, me like him this la something, me like him salon plan 50 kina. Tamis tab one time pay blame was 67 kina. That was his salary.
Those were the days before mobile phones and computers. When duty called, Grace dealt with the challenges at home.
Me can kaka boy, man can judge him outside. But as soon as man blow me lose him gate na door na go outside, I go back into the room. Misa go talk one time God. That's the secret.
Sergeant Laman's story is just one of many. They're stories of hard work, dedication, and sacrifice.
You know, sanam na luglug lo narap lo comrade walk no. Time situation come up, everybody move because we got that uniform na. When equipment solo game no, we got pride line.
Time we got to walk and all work man stop and we one walk. One maybe come up not very hungry or simba karap lo side lo walk or sick or one and we support lo mi play it na sa stop plus lo kat mi plus barata. Maskim lo one province to miss plus lo one plus call.
So one certain group you put him and over the one and something over the something but were wrong because one bla walking, but what la walking ma. So kind of say me bla some bla old bla man stop. Me bla control him. One bla young bla man walking sand in the street, but this line in the street. Come back the line. Come back na me must stop for them so. Make some forming good by it. You put a certain age group, or you put him all muscle man, or and it's like a man go inside them. Why don't I go straight?
Between 2010 and 2014, there's been a growing realization that the law and order demands of Lae City are fast exceeding the capacity of this mobile squad. The MS-13 commander Julius Tingeran says the government must now look at increasing policing capacity in Lae.
Bagat problem lo city bro bagat problem so sumino increase manpower both lo med sub command na PPC command.
Tingeran's assessment comes against a backdrop of high crime rate, poor police housing and limited manpower. Even as a section commander, Sergeant Kapinius Laman is one of those who is without government accommodation.
You're watching Tok Piksa. From our police, now to a story on our fisheries. Lae is set to become a major contributing port for Papua New Guinea's tuna industry, an industry that is already growing at 3.5% annually. 5 tuna processing facilities are already in operation in Lae, while 8 more are currently under construction. But while big fisheries seems to be the focus, there remains a question of whether local fishermen will have a market share. Bethany Harriman with more on this growing tuna industry in Lae.
Lae in the next 5 years will be the port of call for vessels transshipping through Papua New Guinea from all over the world. In the last 5 years or so, infrastructure such as roads and more recently Lae's main port tidal basin first phase has been completed. The infrastructure development is aimed at making Lae more conducive for investment.
Yes, by substantial amount by commerce, by big more. I think by maybe double, suppose we can toss them, but even though figures was a time long.
An industry that aims to use the cash flow coming in from foreign investment is the fisheries industry. Morobe province can contribute over 10,000 tons of fish, or nearly 13% of PNG's potential yield. This factor has been the key to the Morobe Fisheries Management Authority's work with the National Fisheries Authority to facilitate investments in the province.
IPA, Tuna Industry, to facilitate their investment in the province.
Weti Zozengawa, the provincial fisheries manager, explains just how Lae's infrastructure developments are fueling the authority's bid to get foreign investors to put money into the province's tuna fisheries industry.
Because they have all the support industry which they can rely on.
The bid has also benefited from political support from the Morobe provincial government and the fisheries ministry.
As I speak,
but Morobe Governor Kelinaru says, while it's good for tuna, expansions in the province and PNG, policies have to be created to manage that industry.
We would like to have policies and management practices in place that will manage that industry.
Governor Naru has also admitted that there has to be measures taken to ensure local participation in the industry.
Like people from Finsaf and Bukawa now are coming out that way, and also from the south coast, from Morobe up Salomon.
Now yet, people in Lae are not eating so much fish because people are not creating this market.
Similar views are shared by the provincial fisheries chairman Philemon Tomala, the provincial equivalent of the national fisheries minister. Local fishermen have also raised concerns about a fishing market for them to put money directly into their pockets and overfishing by foreign fishing vessels. As it stands, Lae will have more than 10 tuna processing facilities operating on shore and many other supporting operations.
The competition between PMIJ project in Medan and Lae, I think most investors have come here.
In contrast to Medang's Pacific Marine Industrial Zone and RD Tuna Canneries, two other big players in PNG tuna's industry, Lae has taken off considerably because of the existing infrastructure that is being improved while more are being built.
Call him Wagang place, close to Wagang place. This will be a dedicated wharf belong fisheries sector, that's all.
It would become a one-stop shopping where all the fishing companies are there. There will be a can-making factory.
So that means we have to have a wharf belong blade straight. So this bridge will cost about close to up to about 500 million.
But there are ongoing issues of landowners not participating in discussions in recent developments. Fisheries Minister Mao Zeming says there is no cause for concern.
Initial discussions want them provincial government landowners is finish. So you got some agreement finish.
The industry is set to create jobs. Already operating on the ground are 5 factories that include the newly built $39 million Majestic Seafood Factory that employs over 5,000 people. Land has been secured. They have been given away by landowners for the canneries. Another group of Lae's traditional landowners, the Ahi Brumyalu, have also re-registered agricultural land under a landowner company called Mopong.
The work by come up and benefit him. All get a money to the place in the surrounding community.
The landowners have used the opportunity to allocate unused land towards the fisheries industry.
Landowners will give away their land because of the lure of the billion kina industry is immense. Over 250,000 metric tons of tuna is caught in Papua New Guinean waters. That's 18% of the world's tuna. Papua New Guinea contributes 30% of the tuna caught in the Pacific. Morobe province has a potential yield of 13% of that 30%. But while the figures can be bragged about, the real question is how much of that revenue can be translated into tangible development that can be seen in the outlying coastal communities.
And that story ends Tok Piksa for tonight. You can catch a replay of the show on Wednesday evening. And until we do this again next Sunday, I'm Neville Choi. Good night.